What's up, guys, and welcome to Gabe's Reef. Around this time last year was when I set this tank up, so it's roughly about a year old. And honestly, it's had ups and downs, and honestly, I felt like I needed to do a fresh rescape. So what I did is pretty much change it. All the corals are still in there. I just took out like maybe 2 small pieces of rock, but everything else is in there. All the fish, everything is before. So I'll just start around kind of how I wanted to set it up. So basically I wanted something like kind of like a back cliffside a little bit with, a couple small islands and then some nice open area for the fish to swim. Some of the corals will not open up at least till tomorrow, just because they were being moved from the tank to buckets, from buckets back to the tank, and they typically don't get too happy when you do that. So a few of them are opening up and doing pretty well, and a couple of them probably won't open up for a couple days. So we're gonna start from, so I typically sit here, so I kind of wanted to be able to see kind of the whole tank. So my Duncans are right here. They're doing pretty well. That's the spot I chose. And then I put the torch corals to the right of it. I may adjust spacing and stuff as needed, but now everything's pretty good. And then going right down here, we have, supposedly these are torch corals. I know the ends are really short. They kind of closed up. When I got these, the person that had them had a kind of a crappy light on them. The fish store had a really crappy light on it, and it just did not grow to their length that they're supposed to be. So they've gained quite a bit of length, but me transferring them and moving around kind of upset them, so they're not as long right now, but they are still growing. 2 of them there were, and one, and I actually separated them because they're growing so many heads and getting so big. I figured it's time to separate them. And then the candy canes has a lot of heads on it, doing pretty well. A couple of those back ones right there aren't doing too well, just because it used to be under where the anemone was, and it would sting them. They'd go back and forth, and just was not a good mix. And then one last hard stony coral is the Lobo. That one's doing pretty well. It has grown in size. And then moving on to my leather types. So we have the good old-fashioned leather tree, another leather up there. You can tell that one isn't too happy. He's starting to kind of open back up, but he was not happy being moved. Same with him. He's kind of closed up right now. He'll open back up hopefully and fill in that spot. I think that'll look good there. And then the mushroom that was in this corner right here, thought I was gonna have to get rid of him, but honestly he's filling up that back corner really well. Plus the little Ocellaris clownfish loves getting in that, so I'm gonna keep it for now unless it grows too big or grows a lot more. And then we also have the free corals, which I got with the rock. They're right there, just some kind of zoanthian or whatever they may be. And then I have some green star polyps over here. They were never really properly attached on this side, so that's why I'm kind of not doing too well, but hopefully they'll cling on and start to grow. I know these take over pretty crazy, so I may change that. I'm not 100% sure how I'm gonna go about that. One of the reasons why I wanted an island for these watermelons is so they could cover it, and then I'll have to kind of worry about it spreading everywhere all crazy. Now, if you'll notice on this backside over here is green star polyps, so I'll let them kind of figure out, who grows where. And then there's one of my hermits, the biggest one. He is huge, kind of crawling around. And none of these shells really have anything in them. I just wanted a couple extra shells for that as they're growing. There's a smaller one that's kind of growing. I ended up getting a couple bigger shells for that guy. We have some more green star polyps in that corner. And we have a couple mushrooms on that rock. They're not too happy from being moved. And of course the anemone right there. There's a couple Aptasia I still need to get rid of, but I just wanted to set everything where I wanted it at, get some good filtration going on, get it all kind of clean, and then figure out what needs to be taken care of and treated. I do have a pretty cool white sponge back here. And then I have a couple smaller yellow ones on the rocks, one like right there. Like, let me see, right there, and another one like right there. So I'm gonna do some more treatment for the Aptasia because it's starting to get on that rocks right here. I'm gonna do some treatment. I am gonna try to work on, I am getting a little bit of long-haired algae growth just because I had a filter, I had a Purichem in here for as long as I can remember, and it dealt with the algae pretty well. And honestly, it got dirty and I just threw it away. It got really gross, and I rinsed it out so many times, you can only do it so long. Got rid of it, and got a new one just in, so it's gonna take a while to kind of reduce the phosphates. Shouldn't be too crazy. I mean, it has to be I wouldn't say high, but there's a little bit of phosphates if you're seeing some algae growth. Hopefully that filter will deal with some of that. There's the smallest hermit. He's right there with a really long shell. He's pretty cool looking. He loves that shell. He's been in that for a while. I don't know if he's gonna grow much bigger. And then this was where the rock touched right here on the glass. If you notice, I'm trying to get on this side, it's not really touching, but a little bit right there. And then just this tiny little corner. Hopefully I'll be able to scrape this area and this area. I just haven't done it because it was so crazy having everything in buckets, and I was panicking about, you know, not having some kind of air pump, you know, to kind of aerate the buckets. I didn't want them in there too long, so I just wanted to kind of get them in here, and then I can do some more adjusting. And but so far, this is what I'm gonna go with. You know, I just literally changed the water. Hey, buddy. I just literally changed the water. You know, changed the filters. I need to adjust that. That's a little too strong. I need to readjust my my protein skimmer. You can see here that that's kind of filtering the water. That's a brand new filter. I had to move the pumps from the back to the front just because everything's on the back side now. I got 2 circulation pumps. For a while there, I ran one. I realized I wasn't getting enough circulation, honestly, so I decided to run another one. You can see a lot of debris on the rocks. Honestly, I kind of neglected blowing off the rocks with my turkey baster. I should have done more of that. There'd have been a lot less debris. And always having a BioCube, remember to suck out chamber number 1. That there's so much buildup in that chamber. And even check the second and third one, you never know. I honestly do quite a bit of filtration, so just to show you how the new way I'm doing it is the top factory filter, a blue floss, another blue floss, Purichem on top of that, and then another filter pad separating the second and third chamber, basically where the pump pickup is at. Everything else has been working great. The only other issue I've had is it comes on in the morning fine, the lights come on when they're supposed to, and then at the end of the day they just don't turn off. It'll hit like 9 o'clock when it's supposed to turn off, maybe like 9:15 it's still not off. So all I do is just turn it off and then turn the power back on, and the light doesn't come on until the next morning. So I don't know what that is. I've tried pressing the small little reset button on top of here, and I don't know. It's not the biggest deal breaker. You know, the good part is it comes on in the morning, so you don't forget. You just, you know, before you go to bed, just turn it off, or, you know, whenever really. As long as they get enough hours of a light. Kept the temperature gauge over here. I've adjusted that. It was more towards 80. I got about 78 right now. I had to kind of turn it down a little bit. Salinity, I'm still at like I'm like 32 parts per million, which is a little bit high. Just some of my corals like it a little bit higher. The fish are okay, not too bad with that. I think it's like 124, 125, something like that per 32 parts per million, or whatever that is. Mathematically, I forget what it is, but 32 parts per million, and then the salinity that was like 1.205 or whatever that is. So, so that's how I'm running that. Honestly, don't test too much. I'm going to test a little more often. Now that I have a new hard stony coral, you know, frag in there, and I have the Duncans, and I have the torches and the candies, I got to kind of watch my calcium level. Changing the water once a week in a BioCube is amazing. It really keeps, if all of them, if not, you know, keeps them close enough, or keeps all of them just about perfect, honestly. If you have a bunch of corals, you may have to dose a little bit. The only thing I've noticed to go down if I go a little bit longer, like 8 or 9 days without changing water, is calcium. If I change every 7, I only maybe have to do like 1 milligram of calcium a week, maybe 2 at most. So really it's not bad. I haven't dosed iodine in a while, or any kind of, you know, magnesium or alkalinity. If I don't test for it, I don't dose it typically. Last time I tested everything, you know, from the 3rd month to like the 6th month, from the beginning to about the 6th or 7th month is the only times I tested, and everything always was consistent because I always did water changes. I haven't had it crash or anything crazy like that. Fingers crossed. Pump still working great. You can see how dirty the circulation pump is, how long that one's been in there. That one's fairly new. I mainly use that one to mix up my salt water. Same heater. I do have a backup. I highly recommend that. Highly recommend. If you don't have, I understand having a BioCube, you don't have a reverse osmosis filtration system in your house. It's kind of expensive to buy, but if you buy this particular one right here, it'll actually tell you that it's, if I can get it to focus, I'm just going to read it for you guys. So it says, processed by advanced filtration. Hold on. It's not that bright. It's maybe another factor. There you go. Processed by advanced filtration, ozone, and reverse osmosis technologies. So that's really good filtered water. This is what it looks like. It's about 89 cents a gallon, but I think it's worth every penny. It's really good quality water. It's better than distilled. If you can't find it, at least do distilled. Don't just put regular drinking water in there. It has to be at least reverse osmosis or something like that. Honestly, I'd recommend that. That water's pretty good. I did do a couple times with distilled, but you know, it didn't really hurt it. What else? The lights don't have any burnouts of a year, and I run mine honestly, you know, quite a bit during the day. You know, from really light moonlight at like 6 a.m. starting, and then around 9 it gets bright, high intensity with the blue lights as well, all the way to about 5-ish. The high intensity goes out, and then the moonlight takes over till about 8 or 9. So it's really quite a bit of light, just because I want the corals to get enough. I don't see any really burnt. I mean, a couple of bad areas you'll see just where an enemy stung them, but it's not like it's getting burnt from the light or anything like that. This is about the height that I wanted in them all, really. Like, you can kind of see where I kind of try to lay them out, where I feel like it's like the happy median. I know some LPS, some SPSs like to be higher or lower. You know, each one likes its own flow and all that, but we'll see how they do here. Where I had them at before, they did fine. They were growing. I had growth. Hopefully they like the new spots I have them in. And then really just treating for the aptasia right there, those little anemones right there, aptasia. And cleaning some of that rock up for some of that haired algae. Hopefully my cleanup crew does a little bit of that for me. And then that's pretty much it. Hopefully the mushrooms come out good. A couple of them even moved on me. They're on like some rock somewhere else. I forget where at. There's the dotty back. He loves this corner, so I guess that's going to be his spot. If you notice, I'm trying to give you a side shot. So there's a good 1.5 to 2 inch gap that goes straight across the entire back. And then there's also cave work going through the rock. So they have more places to hide than you could ever imagine. It's crazy. There's so many places to hide. There's one of my starfish. Hopefully all of those guys made it. And I think that's pretty much wrapping it up. As far as food, I just do the brine. I do brine, and then I do brine every other or every 3 days, depending how the water and how the tank's doing. And then a pellets, and then a little bit. So I do pellet and a little bit of flake, and then brine, shrimp, and a little bit of pellets. And then, you know, I alternate. And then I try to do once a week coral roids. I honestly haven't done that in a while. They were getting so big and growing kind of crazy, so I just kind of slowed down on the coral roids. I don't know if it's good or bad. I honestly don't know about that. And then I still do the photoplankton. I used to do it like 2 to 3 times a week, just because I was trying to grow tiger pods and all that situation. And I don't know if I still have them or not. Honestly, I'm just gonna just keep it maybe once or twice, maybe like once a week, just to kind of keep some nutrition in there for the corals that eat it as well. And that's really pretty much it. Danzel is out and about. Usually he's not out as much. He must want to swim around a little bit. And then the dottyback's doing good. The big clownfish is obviously an anemone, and then the little one is mainly hanging out on the mushroom, which is cool, and that's like his little bed. So I'm super happy. So I will do a follow-up video maybe here in like a week or a few days once everything kind of opens up and settles and looks a little bit better. I know everything doesn't look like it's really supposed to. These are almost opened up. They're starting to open up. Hammer corals are out. The candy canes are kind of open. Some of them are. You know, the watermelons are open. So some of the things are open, some of them ain't. It's just, you know, letting them settle in. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Give me a thumbs up. Hopefully subscribe to the channel if you like reefing like I do. I'm going to try to do more videos on what I've learned kind of over the year, and you know, any tricks or any tips or anything I've experienced, hopefully to kind of avoid you guys from having, you know, a bad time or avoiding something. That'd be great. If I could do that for you guys. You know, any tips or any suggestions, I'm gladly open to it. And that's pretty much it. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.